February 13th, 2020. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 202 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, how was your Super Bowl? Did you enjoy the game?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, and I think I told you the other night, I'm never watching a Super Bowl again.
Really?
Nope, never going to watch another Super Bowl.
Okay, so what problem did you have with the Super Bowl
Well,
this
it's
year?
the same thing I have every year.
Uh-huh.
It has nothing to do with the game, the score, or the team that won,
All right.
even though I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah.
It's the fact that, and I know these are things you like, but I absolutely, as a football fan, despise.
Okay.
And I would be willing to wager that most football fans, real fans of football, not of the Super Bowl, but of football, hate it too. First of all, I hate almost everything about the Super Bowl except for the actual play.
Okay, so all the pomp and circumstance you
The
don't
pomp
like.
and circumstance is ridiculous. The week in between where the players go off their regular schedule and, have to do a gazillion interviews and don't get their normal workouts, their normal routine. So it's not like a real game. The playoffs I like. It's like the season ends, playoffs start. Now maybe a team gets a bye week, but they're not getting interviewed all week. They're working out. They're going through their normal routine.
Yeah.
I hate the week off. Then I hate all the pregame stuff. The players are out there, way earlier than they normally are because they have to go out and work out and then leave the field while all this crap goes on.
Okay.
So it totally disrupts their thing. Halftime, instead of 12 minutes, is like 2.5 hours, which I hate, And it's just something to put on a show.
Sure.
So why not have the show afterwards?
Well, then nobody would watch it.
Or have it way before.
Well, then nobody would watch it.
Well, that's too bad if they don't want to watch it. Then the gazillion commercials, and I understand the NFL is only about money. They don't really care about the sport. They care about making money. And so they want a gazillion commercials that they can sell for an obscene amount of money.
Right.
And some of the commercials are funny and some of them aren't. Some of them you're like, why is that in there, So the whole thing drives me crazy. And as I was at the end of that game, it's such a bitter taste in my mouth. I said, that's it. And I've joked about it with my family before. Like, I'm just not going to watch this. It's just not fun. And I sleep through half the game because, it starts at like 3:30 our time, right?
It is
the normal 10
Yeah, it is
or
a
1
strange
o'clock.
starting time for us, yeah.
It's a weird starting time on the East Coast even.
Well, yeah, sure.
I mean, the game ends like at 8. It's like 11:30 midnight there, and the game ends, right?
Well, but see, that's how a lot of Monday Night Football ends on the East Coast.
understand,
Now, I know it's not the exact same time, but it is weird here because it starts
when it
and it's
should
sunny
start?
out, and when it ends,
Right.
it's dark out.
You know when it should start? 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like it always does. And the East Coast will be like 4 o'clock, like it always does, right in prime time.
All right,
and they'll be happy.
Well, that's not prime time. That would be 4 o'clock. All right, I want to make sure that if we're getting all of our facts right here. But I do agree with you. I think it should start at 1 o'clock, our time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Yes.
Right. Right. Imagine watching that game in Hawaii.
Well, in Hawaii, it's not too bad. It starts at noon, right?
It'd be the best place to go.
Yeah.
Everyone should go to Hawaii to watch the NFL. Thank you, Hawaii Tourism Board. There are so many oddities about it, let me put it that way, that it drives me crazy. And I think it impacts the game. I think players are thrown off by that.
Well, I agree, but it wouldn't.
Now, they're not going to say that.
But it wouldn't impact one team more than another, would it?
No, it impacts both teams, and that's why usually the game's crappy. Seriously, that's why the game is usually, people always say, oh, those championship games are so much better. Well, yeah, because they're in their normal routine. The Super Bowl comes, and it either takes them a long time to get started, or they get in a routine, and then they go to halftime. And honestly, how long was halftime?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is long. It's a big production. They have to get it ready, and then the show takes a while.
They got to get all the stuff on the field, and they got to get all the stuff off the field.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
Now, I will say that some of that is carried over. Halftime used to be a lot longer than it is in the NFL, just normally.
Right.
And it's kind of a carryover. They'd have marching bands or Up With People, during halftime, right?
I remember.
And so, it's still about the same amount of time. But, all right, so you're not going to watch the Super Bowl
No, I'm not going to. I may bet on it, or or I may run a pool, but I'm not going to watch it.
Not going to watch it.
No,
okay.
There's just better things to do with my time.
Okay, so we've got this recorded for posterity. So
next year I will not be watching the Super Bowl. I won't even watch it if the Los Angeles Chargers get Tom Brady and go undefeated and have a perfect season.
Well, I don't think I'd watch it either. Yeah, I don't think I'd watch it either. That's
going to happen. You know who they're going to get? Seriously?
The Chargers?
Yeah. Nobody. They're going to be going with their backup they had this year because there's just going to be, you're a crappy team. Why not stay crappy?
All right. Well, my Super Bowl, we had a lot of fun because what we did at our house, the whole family, we did a 100-square pool where everybody got paid by the minute. We found out about this from the 7 Out podcast, right?
Right.
And so everybody chipped in and it was a lot of fun. And see, it kept me busy because I paid out every minute. I didn't keep track and then pay at the end.
Right.
I was running around. So sometimes it would be real quick, right? If the clock was still going, right?
Right.
And as it turns out, my son had the 0-0 square. And for anybody who watched the game, I think Vinny Chen's even said 29 out of the 60 minutes, 0-0 was the winning square, right? Of course, when it started, 0-0, and then it was 10-0, 10-10, it was 20-10.
Right.
So my son made out. None of my squares came up.
But if you just need to be busy during the Super Bowl, you still have the Sudoku app on your phone, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've still got that.
Yeah, so you could just play that the whole time.
That's what I do when there's a timeout or something like that.
I just sleep.
The best part about the Super Bowl, though, was I think it was the day before, I think it was the day before, you asked me to tweet out officially so that everybody would know.
Right.
You said that the 49ers were going to win by at least 5 points. You felt Kansas City wouldn't be able to handle the 49ers defense.
And that was the case for every part of the game except the last 5 minutes.
And so I tweeted that out, and it was great because most of the Twitter responses were along the lines of, thanks, Dr. Mike, I'm going to double down on the Chiefs.
Yes.
And so everybody was very happy with that at the end. So,
I can't explain why all of a sudden they stopped playing defense. And that one pass interference play was pretty ticky-tack. I mean, yeah, it's probably a little bit of pass interference, offensive pass interference, but it was a little ticky-tack too. So I'm not 100% on board with that. But why they fell apart there at the end, I have no idea other than rigged NFL.
Yeah, rigged. Hashtag rigged. All right, no more football. That's it. We'll talk about...
What do you mean? We got the XFL now. We can rig that
that's
too.
Good. Should we spend another 10 minutes talking about the XFL?
Yeah, I'm waiting for their halftime.
All right. So coming this April, we're going to be going to Biloxi. And Travel Fanboy is going to be there.
Who's he now?
He has... Well, see, I don't know. Because get this. He has taken it upon himself to actually name this event.
Oh.
Travel Fanboy presents Craps and Laughs.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, I'm not sure where the laughs are going to come from because you've met Adam.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Basically, he's just hijacked this whole thing. I think, Emmy Award winner Tim Lawson and Eric Rosenthal, they're the ones who actually came up with this. And I think he's just hijacked it. Adam has. So,
well, I think that we should just leave that between those three.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll stay out of it.
We're good at that. Staying out of things.
We'll just stay out of things. Yeah. Except Super Bowls. I'm making a big push. The NFL's going to hear from Dr. Mike.
Okay. The NFL is going to hear from Dr. Mike.
Goodell, you puss.
Speaking of Dr. Mike, your birthday was this last week.
Yes.
And your daughter's got you a very nice T-shirt.
Yes.
It was actually a Padres shirt.
Right.
But on the back, it had the number 33, and it said Crapsman.
Right. They wanted a hard 6.
So that's what the 33 is, a hard 6. So you were showing that off at the casino the other night. Everybody loved it. Yep. And also, I tweeted a picture of it. Got a lot of positive responses online. But the best response came from Misnomer, who wrote, my kids got me a shirt that says Craps Pants. It's the kind of thing that you kind of chuckle at it at first, and then you think about it a little while. I can just see him wearing that shirt. Craps Pants.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at you see that guy's shirt? I want to give him a wide berth. Anyway, happy birthday, Dr.
It's not like that hasn't happened to all of us.
Of course. It's just nature.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got an email from listener Andrew. I'm going to read some of the email here, and then we'll get to some of the questions. He's talking about craps. He's played apps, so he knows the game. He knows the rules. But he says, what I'm not clear with is how to ask for bets, live at the table. Pass line and odds is fine. But if I want to place, say, $6 each on the 6 and 8, how do I ask for that? Can I just throw out $15 and say 6 and 8? Or do I have to say place the 6 and 8? Or do I have to say $6 each on the, what does he have to say? Where does he put the chips? That
actually,
kind of
all three of those things would work.
Right. Does the dealer look to players in turn or in sequence? Or is it a bit of a free-for-all to get their bets out there? And I thought this would be actually a good topic for us to talk about. So let's first of all talk about the self-serve bets at a craps table. In other words, the bets that you do all yourself, you put them down, you pick them up, that's all yours. Certainly the pass line and odds. You make those bets. When the dealer pays you off, you pick them up. That's all yours. Right. Same with the field, right? You make a bet in the field. When the dealer pays it off, you pick it up. That's all self-serve. Same with the big 6 and 8, which we, again, say never bet the big 6 and 8. Instead, place the 6 and 8. Right. But those are self-serve bets. And that's pretty much it for the self-serve. There is some crossover we'll talk about in a minute with come and don't come bets. But those are the self-serve. Now, if you want to make buy bets or place bets or lay bets on numbers, that's when you have to give the chips to the dealer. And typically, you're going to put these chips in the come area. Right. You're not making a come bet, but typically that's where it's going to go.
Yeah, you want to put them in that area and then announce what you want, and then they know it's not a come bet.
Right.
If you put it there and you don't say anything, they may assume that's just a come bet.
Right. If you want to place numbers, it always will help to actually say exactly what you want. So if you were to put out $24 and just say, I'd like $12 each on the 6 and 8, well, then that's very clear.
Very clear.
If you were, say, at a $10 table and you just threw down a $25 chip and you said, give me the 6 and 8, well, the dealer's going to assume you want $12 each.
Right, exactly. They will take what is the, quote, standard bet.
Right. And if you throw out some other amount and it's not clear, they may ask you. But to be clear, at least initially, say exactly what you want. And then as you continue to play at the table, if you're working with the same dealer, they'll recognize your betting patterns. And then you can just throw out money and they'll put out your bets and you don't even need to say a thing.
Right, because they've already figured out what you're doing.
Right. But again, place bets, buy bets, lay bets, those are the ones where you actually put them out on the table and you tell the dealer. Now, as far as going in any kind of order, no, it really is a free-for-all.
Yeah, because it's usually some person's already got theirs real quick. They want like a 6 and that's it. Some other guy's trying to get his chips together because he wants a bunch of stuff. So there's really no order.
No, but the dealer will keep track and make sure that they have made all the bets for all the players before the dice are sent.
Right.
Now, as far as all the prop bets go, those are the proposition bets in the center of the table, the hard ways, the hot bets, the horns, whirls, things like that. Those you actually throw into the stick man and tell him what you want.
And a good dealer will repeat your bet to the stick man, as you throw it in.
Right. And this is where you kind of have to be careful. You don't want to be throwing in the chips when a bunch of other people are too. You kind of wait for your window of opportunity and then throw in $4, say all the hard ways.
Or when the dealer is cleaning up or paying out other bets from the previous roll, you should probably wait till he's done that before you throw in your bet.
Yeah, very good advice, yeah. And when it comes to those prop bets, you generally are going to have to tell them exactly what you want unless it's really clear. Like if you toss in 2 red chips and you say, give me a C and E, well, that's real obvious, right? $10 C and E, 5 on each of them. But if you throw in, a $25 chip and you say, give me a horn, well, okay, maybe that's a $20 horn. Or, who knows? They may double check.
It's a horn high something, or it can just be a $25 horn.
which they can pay off.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about come bets and don't come bets, because these are kind of halfway in between self-serve and not. So let's say you make a come bet. That's self-serve when you actually make the come bet. You just put the chip out in the come area, and you're good. If it's a natural, you win with the 7 or 11, then again, you just pick up your winnings, self-serve. But if a number is rolled, one of the box numbers, the dealer will actually move your chip up to that number. And then if you want odds on the number, typically you're going to toss them some chips and say, oh, give me odds on the 5 that just came up. Or again, a good dealer may just see that you've tossed them some money and assume that it's odds for the number that's just come up. But they should check with you.
Yeah, especially if you're just taking single odds. So if you had a $10 come bet and you put 10 out there, well, is that just another come bet or is that just single odds? You just want $10 odds. You have to state that.
Very good point, right. And very similar to with don't come. It's kind of self-serve until it goes up to a number, and then you have to give them the odds to lay the odds. And then if your come bet wins, comes down off a number and wins, the dealer will put all the money relatively close to where you are, kind of in front of you in the come, and then you can pick it up straight from there. So it's kind of, some of it's self-serve, some of it the dealer has to deal with. But I guess what we really want to emphasize is when you want to make a bet, just make it very clear what you want to bet on, how much you want to bet. And again, once you get into the rhythm of the game, you'll pick it up and maybe you won't have to use as many words to get across what you want.
Right, especially if you want something unusual.
For sure, so if you want something unusual.
Yeah, let's say you put $25 out there and you want $10 on the 5 and $15 on the 9.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say 5 and 9. If it's a $10 table, you'd say 5 and 9 high on the 9. Mm-hmm. So they know to put 15 and not give you 5 change. Mm-hmm. You have to explicitly say that. Otherwise, it's hard for the dealer to know exactly what you want.
And you do that quite a bit, Dr. Mike, because a lot of times you'll put way more on the 6 and 8 than some of the other numbers. And if you just tossed them some chips, they'd have no idea where to put everything. So you're like very clear.
So if the point's like 6, I give them $150 for the 8. And I give them $200 for the outside numbers, the 4, 5, 9, and 10. Mm-hmm. And I say $150 on the 8, $200 outside. Mm-hmm. So they know to put 50 on each one. Or I could say, $50, 4, 5, 9, 10.
Yep. And just as a side, too, I don't know that we've really talked about this much. When you say inside, that's 5, 6, 8, and 9, the inside numbers. And when you say outside, that's 4, 5, 9, and 10.
Right. And you can say uptown or downtown.
What's that? Where the emphasis on one side?
Emphasis on one side.
Oh, okay.
So, 4, 5, 6 being downtown.
Oh, okay.
And 8, 9, 10 being uptown.
Oh, very good.
So you'll hear people say, whatever.
I don't hear that very much.
No, you don't hear that.
You don't see the people betting it that much, actually.
But but you'll hear people, just want one side for whatever reason.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Or even numbers. You do that.
Sure, I do that. I say
Mark
even numbers.
Say all the even numbers. Mm-hmm. And so he wants 4, 6, 8, 10. Mm-hmm. If the point's like 5, he doesn't want a 9. Mm-hmm. And he just says even numbers, and they know to put it, leave off the 9.
Yep, exactly. So thanks for the question, Andrew. Good question. Hopefully we answered it for you. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get on to some voicemails. Now, last episode, listener Jim called in and said there was a bet on the 3-card poker table that he was not allowed to make for the dealers. So let's hear from Alex.
Hello, Mark and Mike. This is Alex from Massachusetts. I used to be a table games dealer for 9 years. Now I'm a traveling poker dealer. I deal for the World Series and other events. My brain was hurting when you guys were talking about dealer tips. As far as the jackpot thing goes, some casinos in different jurisdictions, in different areas, it depends if it's a 5,000 to 1 or higher better, or a jackpot payout that they can't play for the dealer, or if it's too high, you can't play for the dealer. It's just things like that. It all depends which jurisdiction you're going to. It depends which state you're at when it comes to all that kind of stuff. But hey, awesome show so far, guys. I stumbled onto it about a year ago. Thank you for all the content. And if you have any questions on the insider stuff, just let me know. Okay, cool. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
I actually had to cut out some of Alex's call because his call was breaking up a little bit, but he actually did go into some detail about how tips are divided up amongst dealers. It's based on how many hours that they've worked during a week and, how much has come in and,
for the pay
and they're split and what have you. And that, everything then is taxed along with their regular wages. But last episode, listener Jim said that the casino where he was playing at would not allow him to make a 6-card bonus bet for the dealer on a game of 3-card poker because that bet has the potential to be paid at 1,000 to 1. If a royal flush is made, pays 1,000 to 1. Jim was told by his supervisor, and I'm just quoting from his phone call here, they have to tax winnings once they're over a certain point, and they don't have any way to tax all of the dealers for the winnings. Now, at face value, that doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
They have to tax all the tips coming in, not just over a certain amount.
Right.
And what do you mean they have no way of taxing all the dealers? So
math's too hard.
If you just take that statement, again, this is coming like third hand, so it might not be exactly what the supervisor said, but they wouldn't let him make the bet because it had the potential to pay off at 1,000 to 1. Bets that pay lower than that, 10 to 1, even 100 to 1, apparently they had no problem with. But at this casino, they would not allow the potential for an 1,000 to 1 bet. And we didn't understand that, especially since we make fire bets for the dealers all the time. And those have the potential to pay 1,000 for 1. So, what's going on? Now, my thinking was the casino Jim was playing at didn't let him make the bet because of the federal requirement that a W-2G tax form has to be generated for a table game win when there is $600 or more in gambling winnings and the payout is at least 300 times the amount of the wager. Those are the rules. So we're going to talk about this very briefly, and then we're never going to talk about it again. You and I had a huge discussion before we even turned the mics on about this stupid topic. And you're saying, why are you even bringing this up again, Mark?
Yeah, because I'm going to just say a few things after you get this all out of your system, and then I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. And the only reason I brought it up again is because Alex mentioned it, as far as how come they don't pay off these. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. When would a W-2G situation apply to a dealer tip? Or better yet, how about this? Why wouldn't a W-2G situation apply to a dealer tip as it would a player? Now, we talked about this a little bit. The dealers are going to be taxed on tips. We know that, okay? You as a player, you should pay your taxes on all your winnings, okay? But the law says a W-2G has to be generated. It doesn't say anything about unless you're tipping a dealer or anything like that. So it seems to me a W-2G maybe should be generated for some reason. Okay. If a W-2G situation does apply to a dealer tip, how is it handled? Is the situation just ignored? Which I'm guessing is really the case, right? That it's ignored. Although listener Mikey, he wrote in and suggested that the player making the tip should receive the W-2G. Because technically, as a player, you're making the bet. You're just agreeing you're going to give the winnings to the dealers, right? But I can just imagine how players would feel if they got a W-2G on money that was being given to the dealers. I don't think that'd go over very well.
That'd stop tipping.
Yeah, right. So, do some casinos forbid certain dealer tips specifically to avoid a W-2G situation? Is that what happened here? And if so, why don't all casinos forbid certain dealer tips specifically to avoid a W-2G situation? It shouldn't depend on the jurisdiction because it's a federal form. All right, so having said all that, I'm not looking for any more speculation on what's going on here because ultimately the answer is probably some casinos do it one way, others do it another way, and whether or not they're following the letter of the law is open to interpretation. So I just had to get that all out there. I don't expect a good answer. There you go.
All right, now I'm just going to give my opinion.
Okay,
concerning the initial call and our discussions afterwards.
Yeah.
Sometimes people hear things wrong.
Sure.
Sometimes people make things up for whatever reason.
Right, and we've certainly seen casino employees say something to shut you up even though they don't know what they're talking about. Sure.
Right. And sometimes people just don't understand it. All that being said, there's no way to tell exactly what's going on because tax codes and the United States government are so screwed up that it's very difficult to figure things out, not about this subject, but other subjects. I've heard different things from different CPAs.
Sure, yes. Mm-hmm. People who do it for a living,
People who do it for a living,
mm-hmm.
and I'll hear different things about, oh, you're supposed to do this, or you're supposed to do that, or, oh, well, you don't really have to do that. So who knows?
Yes, I agree.
Who knows exactly what's going on?
We've actually heard that Barona doesn't issue W-2Gs to players when they hit all 6 numbers on the fire bet and it pays 1,000 for 1. That's what we've heard. It's secondhand, but we've heard it from more than one person.
Maybe play Barona, so when you get one, you don't have to pay, whether they're screwing up or not.
See, you still have to pay. You're just not going to get a W-2G, Mike.
Yeah.
This is the distinction I'm making here.
Yeah, but I'm going to deny I was ever there. I don't care. I don't care what those cameras
Is this
show.
you on the screen, Dr. Mike? Nah, it's not me.
I'm going to say, no, I didn't say craps, man. That said craps pants.
They're calling up Aaron. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. All right, so I apologize. Let's move on. We will never speak of this again, just like you will never watch the Super Bowl again.
Right.
All right, next call.
Hi, guys. This is Ben in South Boston. Appreciate all that you do. Love the podcast. First time calling in. I just took a trip to the Encore Boston Casino just outside of Boston in Everett, Mass. First time going there, it was packed. We actually waited in traffic for 10 minutes to get to the actual front door in an Uber. It was crazy busy. There are 6 tubs on the casino floor. The casino is very nice itself, but all 6 tubs were absolutely jam-packed. 5 of the 6 actually were $25 minimums, and they did have one at $15, which is actually pretty surprising. I had a pretty good roll with my buddies. I hit 4 points in a row, which was great, made some money, was able to play with a little bit of house money. The dealers were nice. I bet, I usually do a couple of 2-ways, hard-way bets, so when I do those, I usually get a thank you from the dealers, and I know you guys expect that as well. I got a few thank yous to start. After that, they kind of went away, so I kind of stopped doing it. But actually, they paid me out wrong, like twice. I had a 2-way hard 6, and a hard 10 popped up, and they paid me out twice. And I looked at the stick man like, what are you doing? But he just gave me the money. I looked at the boxman. No one said anything, so I just picked it up twice. I actually had to correct the dealers twice on 2 different payouts. So they are a little green, but generally pretty nice. Had a nice win and went around to a couple other games in the casinos. The blackjack there does pay 6 to 5, and all of them were at $50 minimum. So I actually didn't even play. But all right, guys, thanks. I'm going to Vegas and this week with my wife, so I'll bring another trip report back to you guys. All right, thanks.
All right, good. Thanks for the report. We would love to get out to that area, and in fact, Chris DeMoro and Vito both invited us to Thanks Gambling that's happening this November. I wrote back to Chris after the fact. I thought, I wonder how my tone was on this, but I basically wrote back to him and said, we probably won't come because nobody will pay for our airfare. We're so used to Caesars, comping our airfare, and we really don't have any kind of rating with MGM, certainly not Encore, but even MGM Springfield. We don't have any M Life rating, really, right? So we'd have to pay our own way.
And you know what they were thinking when they heard that response? Let's just get a hold of Dr. Mike.
Oh, really? I should have had you answer that. So Chris and Vito, maybe this November, maybe we'll be heading your way. Because we'd love to, I know they're not that close. Right. But we'd really want to try to make a point to see them both, since it might be our only opportunity, up in that area. It'd
be nice if if it was 70 degrees too. If they can give us at least 70.
I think that's reasonable in November.
Because it's like
Boston
75 here. So we need good weather.
Yeah, as long as it's only about 5 degrees colder there than it is here.
Right.
That's fine.
I don't have any pants. Do you?
No. It's all shorts. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for the report. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is BT from Chattanooga once again. Still a relatively new listener, but just wanted to update you on a trip report I just had. I went to Vegas last week because we found really cheap flights from Nashville for $55 round trip. Wellness trip, went to Fremont, had a good time overall. Went to Park MGM Casino on the Strip for the first time, and I found 3-2 blackjack there. It was $25 a hand, which seemed to be pretty typical if you were lucky enough to find it on the Strip, which it's really hard to do. But we were really lucky. There were 6 of us, and we just kept playing roulette and blackjack off and on, and we're extremely lucky the first couple of days. But we all made a group bet, $1,000 on black at Caesars, and it hit, which kind of erupted and sent us into the night just losing our minds at the table. It was right there at the entrance to Caesar's Palace, right there on the right. A lot of good fun was had there. But I did want to mention to your listeners, if anybody's interested, some people are scared of Baccarat because of the high limits or the crowd that's around it. But we were at the Venetian, and if you go there, they have a portion for Baccarat where I think there was 2 or 3 dealers and about 50 different kiosks around where you could sit by yourself or really close to someone. And they had a $5 limit on Baccarat. There was 3 different tables you could play electronically. You could pick like the red game or the blue game or the green game, I believe it was. And all 3 had different limits, I believe. And you could still make the side bets. It's just like a normal game. And there's a camera where the dealer is dealing out on the felt there. So you're watching on your screen what the camera's showing you. So it's a live dealer dealing lots and lots of individual tables. So you're not next to anybody. There's no pressure of how you're betting. And so fiance and I, we did that right next to each other so we could high five each other and have a good time, almost like we were playing craps. So I thought that was fun. But besides that, it was Super Bowl weekend once we were leaving. And table of men's got crazy, so we got out of there. But I love the show. Keep up the good work. And thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, that's the great thing about stadium gaming. Low limits. There's no pressure from other players at the table. If you miss a hand, big deal.
Right. You just can sit there and do whatever you want.
Nobody's waiting for you. So, yeah, that's a really good advice. It is
very relaxing.
Easy way to win a game. And it's a great way to learn.
I'll tell you another nice thing about Stadium. Now, I'm not going to play Stadium.
No, and I understand.
It's too slow for me, and it's just not my thing.
Sure.
But here is a nice thing about it. You can play a table game like blackjack or baccarat or roulette or craps and get rated.
Yeah, that's true.
Nicely, right?
Well, I don't know about nicely. It's going to depend on the casino. It really is.
Right, but you're going to get rated what you deserve. Let me put it that way.
Okay, sure.
Whereas you go to a table, you never know what they're rating you on or anything, but this is like a slot machine,
that is
basically.
True.
They know how much you've put in. They know how much you've bet.
Yeah, that is
right.
True.
So you are getting rated properly.
Yeah. I love this story about them all chipping in and making a $1,000 bet on roulette, on black. I like this idea better than high limit slot pull for a couple reasons. Number one, if you're just betting all on black or red, something like that, when we're playing those slot pulls, it's like, well, if we double our money, we'll stop.
Right.
Well, if you go and bet this, you're either going to double your money or not, right? And you're more likely to double your money on just a single bet like this.
Sure.
And here's another thing, too, talking about W2Gs. We had this slot pull right at the last Gamble Palooza, and we had some payoff that was higher than $1,200, and we had to wait for all the paperwork.
Right.
Well, if you're making just a $1,000 bet on roulette, or let's say $5,000 bet on roulette, and it wins and it pays $5,000, no W2G needed.
No, you
right?
just
So you don't have to
collect it.
fill it all that. So I realize it's not as exciting, maybe, for some people, but I'm going to push for that. Okay? No more high limit slot pull. Instead, high limit single bet on the roulette table.
The only problem with that, it'd be like one spin of the wheel. All right, that's over. Bye.
Exactly. Okay? So you're not sitting around.
For you and I, that's great. For everyone else, that's like, well, that wasn't very much fun.
All right, we'll see you at the next event. That's it. All right, moving on.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm in Denton, Texas. I've been here about 10 years after moving from Scripps Ranch, where Vegas was 4.5 hours away, get on the I-15. Anyway, I just came back from a cruise, and I wanted to tell you guys a story while shooting dice. It was a $10 game, double odds. I get the dice, and the point was a 6. First thing I asked the pit boss, can I put a quarter down there for my odds? They go, no, double odds game. I said, just makes it easier on you than the payoff. Sorry, double odds game. I said, okay. So I put my double odds $20. I hit the 6. I throw $1 on the table thinking they'll give me back 35, 10 on the pass and 24 on the odds. They took my dollar and said, thank you for the tip, and gave me 34 total. I'm going, wait, no, that's not right. It gets even better. I get the dice again. I throw it down the table. The boxman says, you're throwing the dice too high. I go, excuse me? I'm hitting the back wall. I'm not knocking over set. You're throwing the dice too high. I said, I'm throwing it like 1.5 feet above the table. That's too high. I go, where is this coming from? He said, house rules. They told me when I throw the dice too high, they can't concentrate on what's going on the table itself. And I told the boxman, isn't that your job? They'll keep track of what's going on the table. They go, throw it again, no roll. Throw it again. Guess what? No roll. Oh, anyway, took my winnings and went down and enjoyed the rest of the cruise. Just thought I'd relay that story to you because I'm still scratching my head on that one. Love the show. Look forward to it every time you're on. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, well, dropping the $1 and then the dealer's just assuming that's a tip for them, that is really bad.
That is weird.
That's not good. Now, as far as the dice going too high, we've certainly heard this before. We've even been told, you can't throw them that high.
Well, usually it's above the dealer's eye level.
Right, and that's the idea is that if it's above their eye level, well, then
they have to look up and they can't watch the table.
Right.
And,
So here's my advice to the dealers and the pit boss. Just keep your eyes on the table and assume that nothing is going on with the dice in midair.
In midair?
Okay? That's my advice. Unless it's hitting the ceiling, just assume nothing's going on in midair and watch what's happening on the table.
You saw that episode where Data squeezed the dice and made certain numbers come up all the time?
Yeah.
What if that's happening?
All right, if it's clearly an android throwing the dice, or some kind of humanoid android hybrid throwing the dice, see, I'm just backing
like
him
a Borg?
off.
That'd be a Borg, a humanoid android.
It was a Borg, that's right. Come on, 7. Just seriously, I'll just back them off, and it'll just be only human beings, please.
What I like, big sign on the table, no smoking, humans only.
I'm going to print one out, and when they're not looking next time, I'm going to put it right under the nose. Humans only.
Humans only. You know what I like? He said that the dice were about 1.5 feet off the table. How tall's the dealer? Their eyes are only 1.5 feet off the table? Are they on their knees?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, they can't be... Honestly, when they say eye level, I kind of understand because, that's still pretty high.
Yeah,
right?
and you're going to see them. Yeah, it's...
But, if it's only 1.5 feet and they're telling you to keep them lower... Oh, so I should slide them?
Yeah, it's obviously a crew that just didn't enjoy their job.
Right, right.
All right, last call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Raji. I had actually called earlier about the side bet in the high card flush, and I don't think I left my name. So thank you very much for playing my call on the air and responding to it. I have a couple of questions. I also live in Southern California, and I probably get out to the casinos 4 to 6 times a year, 2 to 3 times locally, and then 2 to 3 times a year to Vegas. From a money management standpoint, I'm guessing that you guys get out there about 40 to 50 times a year. So do you set a budget ahead of time at the beginning of the year? Is it a fluid budget as you go along? Do you have a loss limit? I can imagine going 40 to 50 times a year, how you play is going to be far different than somebody who goes 4 to 6 times a year. I'm guessing, at least for Mark, and that's probably who I play more closely to, I'm guessing you probably need about a $5,000 budget at the beginning of the year to kind of withstand the ups and downs. The second part of my question, and you may have touched on this before, in terms of which casinos you go to and how often you go, if Terra's Southern Cal just closed, do you think that you would still go to the casinos as frequently as you do? I understand you have to go a certain number of times just for content reasons and podcast reasons, but if that casino closed, how do you think that would affect how often you go to the casino? And secondly, let's say another local casino had a regular $5 table minimum with 20 times odds. How do you think that would impact how often you might go to Harrah's versus this newer casino with much better rules for craft? So thanks again for all that you do, and if you do play this call and talk about it, thanks as well. Take care. Bye.
All right, so let's talk about budgets first. I don't make a decision at the beginning of the year what I'm going to do.
I don't think either of us do that.
I think just from session to session, we do go about once a week, right? And
at least once a week.
Yeah, I will base my play on what my current stash is at, what my current stash is at, right? I've got a big gambling budget.
Right.
And I did pretty well last year. So it's fairly big, so I'm a little more aggressive than I have been in the past. But during those times when I've lost quite a bit and my stash has gotten lower, I change the way I play. Suddenly I'm placing the 6 and 8 for $6 each, and I'm betting the pass line with single odds, right? And then when it goes high again, it's like, okay, buy the 4 and 10 for $25 each and take full odds. So it just depends on where my stash is at. Now, how about you, Dr. Mike?
My shirt says Craftsman on the back.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Okay.
No, I don't change. You see me. I hardly ever change anything, really.
Well, you're not constrained by like a gambling account. It's not like you've got, you don't really kind of separate it that way.
No,
so
you
play responsibly.
We have times when things go bad and then we may not go for a week.
Right.
Because, we need a little recoup time or something. But
yeah, if you started with like $5,000 in a year and you were only going to go, say, 6 times, I think that's reasonable.
Sure.
And if you lose a bunch of it, now suddenly it's just 2,000. Well, you just lower your bets,
right?
Or make fewer bets.
As far as changing places, if there was another casino here locally that gave us as much comp money as Harrah's does, and transferred points where we could get, airplane tickets and, rooms and food and everything in Vegas and other parts of the country, then we'd probably go there.
That's what
the 20 times odds to me is appealing, but it doesn't mean all that much.
No, from a craps standpoint, the better rules would not be nearly as important to us as all the comps that we're getting from Harrah's.
Right.
And, you'll see that with craps, there aren't too many rule changes. It's basically how much can you take in odds.
Right.
And a player like me, 10 times odds, 20 times odds, 100 times odds, it might as well be infinity odds for someone like me, right? I'm going to play about the same. Maybe you'll play differently.
Yeah, but in the long run, that's not going to matter, right?
That's right. The odds won't matter.
I mean, I'm going to lose more on the nights I lose, and I'm going to win more on the nights I win, but in the long run, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Now, if Harrah's did close, he asked, would we still go as consistently as we do?
Probably.
I think we would. Yeah,
probably.
I think so.
There's so many around here.
Right. We definitely like playing. We'd be disappointed that we're not getting as much in comps.
And maybe we wouldn't go quite as much, but it'd be pretty close.
I think it'd still average out to about once a week or something close to that.
Right.
So,
sure.
Yeah. But for now, we're going to continue to go to Harrah's, although we have agreed that this weekend we're going to go to Viejas. So
this weekend we are going to go to Viejas.
Hopefully you'll enjoy yourself there, Mike. And they do have better rules. Again, I don't think we're going to get as much in comps.
Right.
But, we'll see if we have a good time out there. So
it's hard to beat. And here, honestly, okay, we're going to go to Viejas Saturday night. Well, I get $300 at Harrah's.
That you're going to miss out on.
That I'm not going to get. Mm-hmm. And if my wife goes, she gets $20. You get
I get like $100, which is crazy the way I play.
So that's $420, and then my dad goes, and we're losing out on like $500.
That's
really
true. I know. We need to go talk to the host there. I'm going to bring my book. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm going to bring my little booklet and say, hey, here's what they're giving me. And they'll say, well, we can't. I'm sorry, Mark, Dr. Mike, we just can't give you that much. I understand. It was nice playing.
Yeah, in my personal business, not gambling, but in just business, I've always found that people will promise you, oh, I can match that price. I hear this all the time. Oh, that supply, yeah, I'll match that price. And they'll do it once, and then it just, all of a sudden, they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And you say something, oh, well, yeah, there's some reason. It just seems like that's always the pattern. And I could see us going to VA, oh, yeah, we'll do that. And then it's like they do it for a little while, and then then it's like, oh yeah, we'll give you $20 or here's your free buffet. And certain things, this is another thing, certain things mean nothing to us. Getting a free buffet that really, to you and I, we don't even want to eat. No. I mean, it really means nothing. Yeah. The free food we get at Harrah's, which is we talked about this the other day, an insane amount of money we get for food. We don't even use it all.
No, I'm buying a bunch of sodas that are, marked up to like $2 a bottle.
My daughters to give to their classmates because it doesn't mean much to us. Yeah, right. It's the free play, that we get, that we can cash, that we can play, get money, and then go to the craps table. That means more to us.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from James, Kurt, Robin from Anytime Gambling, and Nathan. Thanks very much. Also, we got a donation from Vinny Chens. He says it's a karma donation for a Chiefs victory. What do you think of that, Dr.
Nice.
Mike? He made a little money on that. And also a donation from Greg and Janine. Karma donation for their trip the 8th through the 13th. Oh, so they're right there right now.
They're there now, today's the 12th.
She loves the seedy vibe playing craps at the El Cortez, so this karma donation is hoping she gets on an epic heater. Thanks for everything you do. All right, well, good luck to you guys. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. Mike.
Well, it's baseball season.
Oh, my gosh.
They're going to report to training camp next week.
Right? And pitchers and catchers?
Pitchers and catchers. And then the full team will be there in another, 10 days or whatever. Yeah. So I'm just going to say this before the season starts. This was the year that the Padre management promised us this was the year they were going to do something.
Okay, right. Because they've
Supposedly-
been rebuilding up to this point. Right?
Supposedly make the playoffs. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how that all turns out. They have spent some money. I'll give them that. But I don't think they're going to the playoffs.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Maybe in 2023 when they change the rules and every team but two makes it to the playoffs and people get to decide who they're going to play in the playoffs. That's my favorite.
Yeah. I think that people should just vote on who gets to go to the playoffs.
Right,
What
yeah.
teams?
It should just be
it's the Yankees again.
Turns out that LA and New York get to go every year.
That's the rule.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we'll see how the Padres do. I am excited about baseball season.
Yeah, me too.
Because I love baseball. I still don't have a host at Harris, Southern California.
And anytime you need something, Mike, let me know. I'll call my host. She can help you out.
Help me out. I don't know what the dollar amount is I need to spend at that casino to actually get a host.
Every week, my host comes. Mark, how's it going?
Yeah,
you know my friend, Dr. Mike. Oh, yes, hello.
Yeah, she talks to me. She is very nice.
Yes, she is.
So that's how our lives are going.
Yeah.
We got baseball.
As usual.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.